To escape the control of her wealthy husband, Mary decides to disguise herself as a man. She puts on a wig and a fake beard and instantly transforms from a blonde to a completely different person. All of this was to escape her husband's extremely perverted habits. At one point, Mary noticed that the towel in the middle was slightly shorter than the others, and she hurriedly apologized and rearranged it. Even so, however, she was unable to avoid a sudden slap from her husband. While cooking, Mary became nervous, afraid of making the same mistake again. Suddenly she had an idea, and she quickly put down what she was holding and opened the cupboards to organize the canned goods neatly, making sure that the labels on each box faced outward. She double-checked everything again, which was a relief, thinking that this time she would be able to avoid her husband's violent behavior. However, the rich man met his new neighbor outside his door, who complimented him on the beauty of his house and casually mentioned that Mary was more attractive than the house. Although it was just casual conversation, the rich man took it to heart. Upon returning home, he began to complain with displeasure and, in a roundabout way, complimented the neighbor on her good looks, and then questioned Mary as to whether she had ever hosted this new neighbor. Despite Mary's denial that she knew the man, the rich man could not quell his anger and once again committed domestic violence against her. But it wasn't long before the rich man's attitude suddenly changed. He helped Mary to her feet and said that the neighbor had invited them to go sailing together. After the rich man left, Mary seemed to have made up her mind. Late at night, Mary, her rich husband and the neighbor went out to sea together, but a sudden storm changed everything. The wind overturns the sails and the rich man falls overboard, where the neighbor pulls him up just in time. However, when they returned to the boat, Mary was gone. The two men cried out anxiously, but in the middle of the sea, Mary's figure disappeared without a trace. When the rescue boat arrived, they only found Mary's life jacket. The rich man had to accept the fact that his wife was dead and organized a funeral for her. But it never occurred to him that behind the scenes his wife, who seemed unable to swim, was actually an expert swimmer. That night, she swam as hard as she could to the shore, crept back home in the night, took out the clothes she had prepared in advance from the roof, put on her wig, took off her ring and flushed it down the toilet, then wiped the water stains clean. With that done, she boarded the bus to New York and began a new life. In Newtown, Mary rented an apartment. After taking a shower and looking at how neatly everything was laid out, she purposely messed up her towel. Each time she did this, she felt an overwhelming sense of freedom and fulfillment because no one could control her life anymore. Meanwhile, the rich man was still reeling from the loss of his wife when suddenly the swimming coach called. The coach told him that Mary was a very good swimmer, so why didn't she come to her lessons? Upon hearing this, the rich man was shocked. It turned out that his wife knew how to swim all along and had been cheating on him. If so, how could his wife have drowned? The rich man went home and searched frantically and found Mary's ring in the toilet.